Hello and welcome to episode 409 of the Daily Sales Message Podcast, where every single day I share a piece of simple, actionable advice. It's designed to help you feel more confident and sell more stuff. And I generally talk about, I talk very quickly first of all, sorry about that. But I generally talk about messaging. First of all, having a clear sales message, so being able to explain your offering so people understand it. And then secondly, selling confidence, the ability to be relaxed and comfortable and confident in a selling situation. In today's episode, as I have to check my notes, sorry about that. Yes, there's two parts of your offering that you're probably not talking about on a daily basis. You might miss one of them, you might miss the other one, or you might miss both. And when I tell you what they are, it's a bit embarrassing really that I've had to make a podcast about it. It's achingly simple, but I've done this myself from time to time. It's the minimum and the maximum. This is the scope of your offering. What's the smallest thing you do? The smallest problem you solve, the cheapest thing you do, whatever, the quickest, lightest, smallest thing that you sell and offer and do. What's the smallest thing? What's the biggest thing you do? The most expensive, the most pervasive, the largest part of your offering. Do you talk about those in your messaging? Are they on your website? Do you make that clear? Because if you don't, then you might have buyers, potential buyers, precluding themselves from dealing with you because they don't think you can help them with a problem as big as the one they've got, because you haven't said how big you can go, or a problem as small as the one they've got because you haven't told them how small you can go. And this is where, as banal as it is to say, for tradespeople here in the UK, and a lot of the adverts that they place, they will have no job too small in some of their messaging. Seems like a simple thing to do, but that means if I'm calling an electrician and I just need a single plug socket change rather than my whole house rewired, I won't feel bad about calling him because it says no job too small. So that's a really small job, but you've told me you can do it, that's fine. If they didn't say that, I wouldn't choose that provider. I would choose somebody that makes it obvious, which again comes back to this notion of WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. If you don't tell your buyers certain things, you can't expect them to know. So from today's episode, the takeaway really is, do you talk about the smallest thing and the biggest thing that you do? And if you are missing one of them or both of them, can you include them? What can you say? We need to make this as obvious as possible to people, obvious sales message, so they don't think that their problem is too big or too small for what you do. They can call it the Goldilocks principle, sure, it's just right. But they can work out, okay, yeah, James should be able to do that because he explicitly says that in his messaging. So what's the biggest and smallest thing you do? Can you communicate it? Right, that's it for this episode of the podcast. Tomorrow in episode 410, I'm going to use a phrase which I'm going to be honest, I've stolen it from one of my clients, but I really, really liked it. It's an analogy he uses when he's selling. And it's kind of like a little pushback. Really like it. I'll share that with you in tomorrow's episode. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please hop on over to LinkedIn. You'll find me there, James Newell, Clear Sales Message. Send me a DM. Let me know what you like about the podcast. If you want me to cover something in a future episode, if you have a question, then please feel free to send that to me because as this is a daily podcast, I need as many ideas as possible. I've got about 1,500 ideas up my sleeve, but the more the merrier. Thank you for listening and watching all the way to the end. I appreciate it. I'll catch you tomorrow for another edition of the Daily Sales Message.